Hello and welcome, book lovers. You are tuned into the podcast of TRU, aka the Review Universe, your go-to podcast for insightful conversation with remarkable authors. Today we have a special guest joining with us, Vikram Munshi, the founder and CEO of Whitespace Consulting and Capability Building. He has written a book called Find Your White Space. So, Vikram sir, welcome to the show.
For TRU for having me over. Wishing you, TRU team, and all the listeners a very happy 2024.
We are diving in directly into the questions as not wasting your time, as you have said that you are busy enough. Yes, sir. So our first question will be that what inspired you to write the book Find Your White Space? Were there any specific experiences or moments that sparked the idea of the book?
Okay, I think as you've read the book, you know that there are stories in that which are from my own life. So and they're from different phases. So the trigger was basically that I've been thinking for a long. I was thinking for a long time, लिखेंगे, we'll write a book. But then I was postponing it, because all of us are busy. I run a consulting practice also, so book writing was something which was behind. But then what happened was when the second wave of COVID came, I suddenly realized that time is very finite. कल किसने देखा है? Nobody is seen tomorrow. So it's better start writing it. Don't keep on postponing things which you want to do for a very long time because you don't know what tomorrow brings, right? The uncertainty of life, and I think the second wave of COVID was the trigger that I should write the book and not just think about it.
Sorry to say, sir, that I haven't read this book yet. My team has read it and they have made the reviews and all, and I will look forward to read it after some days, as I am working on podcasts only. So I will look into that also. So, sir,
Okay.
I want to know that as I have not read your book, so can you give me an overview so that I read your book?
I will ask this one a very counter question. Are you wanting to transform some part of your life?
Yes, sir. Obviously.
Then read the book. I'm not here, Anuj, that a lot of authors come, they write a book, then I'm now realizing what is royalty sales, what is this, you know. But believe it or not, I have not written the book to make money. I make money through my consulting practice, right? But this book is for all those people who want very practical, who first are wanting to transform some part of their life and a very practical way of doing it, not gyan, not theory, but a very practical way of doing it. That is what I've shared over there.
So, sir, I want to know that as you are working in this field since 25 years, as we have seen over your descriptions and all. So, how's your is there any specific experience which you can share with us as I'm in my 20s and starting my work so that I can get something from it?
There are three stories in the book, and my first story, what I've shared over there is how do you see. Normally, what happens is when we see an obstacle or a difficult thing, we feel that ये नहीं हो पाएगा. We cannot do anything. We avoid it. But what happens now that I've grown older? All those obstacle life places you is to make you evolve, to make you grow into a different person. And the first story which I shared, the first obstacle which I faced in my life, I still face obstacles, but those pivotal moments was like a lot of us don't like maths. We are afraid of maths as students. Maths से डर लगता है, समझ नहीं आता है. So I was also a math student. So now I had scored 8 out of 65 in algebra. 8 out of 65. And in 2 years, I managed to score 95 out of 100 in my board exams. I'm not a maths genius. I'm as ordinary. So I think what created that and how I could do that, and then that learning in two other aspects of life is what I shared. So all of us are readers who remember their school days that मैथ्स डर लगता था, मैथ्स से वो लगता था। मैंने आपको ओपनली बोल दिया मेरे को मैथ्स में कितने मार्क्स मिले थे, राइट? तो अगर वो if that can be managed, then anything. So that is what led to that thing. So, and how did it impact my life later? So this is just one part of my life. The second, there are two other parts of my life which I mentioned in the book. What were the obstacles and what did I do to overcome those obstacles? And by overcoming that obstacles, what new area got unlocked, which I call the white space. You know, everybody has a white space with an unexplored area of ourselves that gets unlocked. That's what the book is about.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have another question regarding the book only. That were there any challenges that you encounter while writing the book, the writing process, the time, as you are busy in your own works?
आ- आपने बस बोल ही दिया, आपको पता है सबसे पहला टाइम चीज आता है ऑफ द टाइम, राइट? सेकंड थिंग, आई एज आई एम ग्रोइंग ओल्डर ना, ऑलरेडी बहुत सारा स्क्रीन टाइम जाता है, वी आर टेकिंग client calls and all. So I think typing on a screen, right? And that excess, that was a challenge. And then obviously, as you know, you can see that I talk a lot, right? So that gets translated into writing. So sometimes it was getting too lengthy, too complicated. So I'm very glad that my editor helped me to curtail that. But I think the first thing was the time. But वही होता है ना लाइफ में अनुज, इफ यू आर सीरियस अबाउट समथिंग ना, उसके लिए समय आप निकाल लेते हो, यू टेक आउट टाइम फॉर इट. I think I just put it on priority that I have to take time out for it. I took out time for it.
So, sir, I want to know that what was the writing process, as I have no idea that how someone writes a book.
मैंने राइटिंग प्रोसेस मतलब लिखने का प्रोसेस.
Yes, sir. As you have
तो मैं
said,
भी तो आई एम ऑल्सो नो एक्सपर्ट. सी, people ask me what do you do in writing. I'm no expert in writing. I love reading a lot. So what I did was when I started writing, first I think I knew what I wanted to write on. I knew what I wanted to write on. So I first put the broad headings in a chart that this is what the structure would be. I didn't straight away start writing. एटलीस्ट कौन से एस्पेक्ट्स होगी, चाहे उसको चैप्टर हेडिंग्स बोल दो, चाहे वो बोल दो. सो दैट वाज द स्ट्रक्चर एंड देन आई स्टार्टेड putting the chapters. So obviously there will have to be an introduction that why is somebody writing this book. Then comes that those stories. So I think I was just putting one after the other and all, and then I gave it for editing. It was just writing, but I made sure that the challenge was that I made sure that there would be no week I would go without writing some lines.
yes, sir.
तो उसको बजट कर. That is how I started writing, and then I would write something. I would not start editing it. I would first write. I said पहले thoughts डालो. उसके बाद I started reading. एक chapter खत्म हो गया. How is it seeming? How is it seeming? Then I cut out. I changed something. And then after I wrote the whole 50% of the book, I started sending it to my editor, so that because I wanted to launch at a particular time, so she would then revert with some suggestions. That editing part back and forth took more time. So if one buys the book, I'm a voracious reader. I've read more than 1,500 books,
Yeah.
right? I love reading. I love reading. So when I have not copied these concepts from anyone, because as I said, at in class 10 in my maths, I was not reading self-help books. But there are 10 or 12 books which also shape my thinking, which I've been influenced. And in the book, I have, in the end of the day, at the end of the book, I have given those name of 12 books. What did I learn from them? And as a recommendation to people, the readers, that you should read these other books also.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have a question for which I'm curious, as I am also starting a business in a way. So, as back in 2012, you have started the business. So, what are the difficulties that you faced at that time, and I will not face in this time also? It's just a curious one.
नहीं, इसमें देखो, ये तो कोई देखो, मेरा कोई, आई डिडंट हैव एनी प्लान टू स्टार्ट अ बिजनेस. Okay. I was doing very well in my career. I was at a very senior post in my career, and I just wanted. I think there comes a time when I wanted to do something different, but I wanted to take a break. I come from a middle class home, right? Where कोई सेविंग ज्यादा होते नहीं है, and we have been brought up that अच्छा नौकरी करो ये करो, and the way it is not that like this. So I decided I need to take a year off, 1 year off from my job to figure out what is it that I want to do. And I took that year off to enroll myself into PhD, which is my second story over there in the book. Okay. So सबसे पहले जो डिफिकल्ट क्या था टू आंसर योर क्वेश्चन, बिजनेस के तीन पार्ट होते हैं दोस्त अनुज. फर्स्ट पार्ट इज गेटिंग बिजनेस, सेकेंड पार्ट इज डिलीवरिंग बिजनेस, एंड थर्ड पार्ट इज collecting payment, right? Getting business is tough. I'm pretty well known in the pharmaceutical industry. I was at that time. तो हमने सोचा था कि मेरे इतने कॉन्टैक्ट से बिजनेस आएगा. ऐसा नहीं होता. अगर हर एक कॉन्टैक्ट मेरे को बिजनेस देता तो मैं हेलीकॉप्टर में घूम रहा होता, right? So the day when you leave your position, that is the time when you start from scratch. So getting people, even after having contact, getting people to give you time to listen to you, to understand what you do, I think that was the first biggest thing. Because I don't blame anyone. They were also thinking after 1 year he will join the industry again, na. So why should we give him a project? Because project means confidentiality things and all that. So first challenge is, why are you starting your business? If it is just to make money and get funding, then don't do it. Your business. Second caution is, people say do your business, find your passion, right? मेरा passion, for example, गोलगप्पे खाना है. That passion is not going to make me money. So whatever you're good at, whatever your passion, whether it's a product or service, that should have a market for it. There should be buyers who are willing to pay for it. Otherwise, what will you sell? So two things you keep in mind. Number one is, why do you want to do your business? Keep the objective very clear. Number two, does your passion have, or whatever the reason what you're good at, does it have a market? And third thing is resource allocation. Resource allocation means जो business के लिए vital है उस पर खर्च करिए. People ask me, do you have an office? I said, no. Why should I have an office? Because nobody's going to come to my office. I have to go to the client's office and do business. वो तो, that is for to show that, oh, you have an office, but I will not be able to pay that rent for too long. I need, what is important for me. I need flight. I need to travel. उसका पैसा होना चाहिए. So money is not resources. So you have to be very clear. Where are you going to spend the money to get your business? Otherwise, it will go waste. So
That's
these are the three things.
yeah.
These are three things which I would recommend.
Yes, sir. That's great insights which you have shared with me. I can say me and also the listeners who are listening this podcast. So, uh, my another question will be: do you have any upcoming projects which you are working on, or any other book you are planning to write?
I've just written this book. It's barely been 2 months. I'm not thinking of writing anything right now. There's lots to be done. I'm more interested now in wanting this book to reach more people, not because I want to make money from it. Believe me, Anuj, unless you're a best-selling author, you can't make money on it. I know what I spent to write that book. I know what I spent to editor, printing, publishing, promotion. All this is going out of my consulting practice. There is, I've still not started earning money from the book. So I have not written this book for money, but I would be using the next 6, 7 months. I would want, using all platforms, more people read this book so that it can help them transform their lives. And I believe it can help them transform their life. So उसके बाद देखते हैं क्या करेंगे.
The last question I can say that
No, no, you can ask me more questions also. Don't be tensed.
yes, sir. So what message do you hope that reader will take away from your book? Find your white space. Sorry.
I don't want him to take a message, or him or her to take a message. I want him or her to take an action into transforming their life. I'll tell you in a very different way. Anuj, you can see me, okay? You know that I'm a pretty healthy person, right? I'm not slim and trim like you. Agar if you're eating the calories which you're burning, if you're not going to, if you're taking in calories, if you're not going to burn them, then obesity हो जाता है. बुक पढ़ के सिर्फ ज्ञान बढ़ा के फायदा नहीं है, वो ज्ञान को अप्लाई करना पड़ता है, तभी ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन आती है. So I would want people. That's why I asked you first. Who all should read this book? I don't want everyone to read this book. I very frankly, I don't want everyone to read this book. I want those people who want to transform some part of their life. They should pick up the book. And the message which I want is not a message. After reading a book, they should take the first step towards actioning the transformation. Start implementing things which you are reading in that book. That is the message.
Yes, sir. That's great. That's great. Things you have said right now. So with this, I think we just don't do it for too long and keep it short. So we will wrap this podcast. So
Wonderful.
yes, sir.
Thank
So
you so much. Thank you so much, Anuj, for having me over. It's been
yes,
wonderful. Thank you for the questions. I hope we have been able to answer them.
yes, sir. Definitely, sir. You I can't say that you haven't answered these questions. I am looking to learn more from persons like you, so that it can help me to grow in my own life. So
Wonderful.
yes, sir. So with this, we can't wait to read your book, as I will personally look into it. Thank you, sir. So
Thank you
thank you.
so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Vikram, sir, for sharing your journey and insights through Find Your White Space. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Let's wrap our conversation with Vikram Munshi, sir, the brilliant mind behind the book Find Your White Space. Thank you, listeners. So keep reading.